Okay, so let's use the double ampersand to test some conditional expressions. In cell programming, we have in bash programming we have two different ways of expressing conditional of creating conditional expressions: the single bracket syntax and the double bracket syntax. Okay, we have two options because this is the more compatible one. This is this is the POSIX standard, so it will work in more cells. But for example, if you write a script for the SH cell, you can use this construction. But this one, the double brackets, is bus specific. Is specific from bus, so it won't be as portable as the single bracket syntax, but it's more powerful. So this is more compatible. This is more powerful. I will show you first how to write conditionals with the single bracket syntax, and then I will show you what is can we do using the more powerful double brackets syntax. So let's start. The first thing that we want to show you is how to do numerical comparisons. So for example, with single bracket syntax, it's very important to add a space here after the brackets, because this is really a command. Okay, I have a space here, and I can, for example, I can test if 2 is equal to 2, and then I can close the bracket syntax. Remember the spaces here, very important. It's a common error when writing conditionals. And then I will use the double ampersand and put it's true. Okay, so in this case, remember, if this is true, then this command will be executed, and if this is false, the command will stop here. Okay, so in this case, it's true. 2 is equal to 2. So if I remove the spaces here, for example, you can see you have a command not found because it interprets all this as a command and it won't work properly. Okay, for another important thing in single bracket syntax is that you can't use this thing or this thing because it would be interpreted as redirection. So if, for example, if I put here 1 less than 2, I will get an error because it's trying to use redirection with a file named 2. So it's not going to work. But I can't use the escape character. In this case, it's true. But usually when we are working with the numerical comparisons in cell programming, you use some commands like this. Okay, LT, we have a minus sign here, and here the kind of comparisons we're going to write. So in this case, it's equivalent. LT is less than. If this is equivalent to less than. We have more I'm going to show you the result. Okay, it's true. So we have less than for minor. We have less than equal. We have greater than or equal. We have equal, and we have not equal. Okay? Those are the numerical comparisons, the numerical comparison operators that I have here in single bracket syntax. They can also be used in double bracket syntax. Another important set of comparators are the file comparators. So, for example, I can use here those are single operator comparisons. I'm going to put this here. It's true. Okay, and I can use, for example, the .f. We have multiple operator f to check if the second argument, for example, I'm going to put here file1.txt. Okay, this could be this could also be a variable here, but .f will check if the second argument, if this is a file. We can also check that if that's a directory. on. We can check if it's a link, or we can check permissions and error to check if we have read permissions, write permissions, executable permissions. We can also check with .f if it exists independently of if it's a file, a directory, or whatever. And with that, I can, for example, I can check, I'm checking with this if file1 is a file. So if I run this order, it's true. But if I, for example, check if with -d, if this is a directory, then it will fail. Okay, it's not true. So the file operators are very, very useful for doing comparisons, uh, for using in conditional expression in order to change the flow of our program. The third set of operators are the string comparators. So for example, I can check if a string, remember I'm going to use a variable, for example, uh, content hello. Okay, so I just created a variable named content, okay, with the value hello. So for example, I could check if content is equal to hello, for example, to a value. It's true. Okay, and it's true. If I put something different here, it's false. Okay, and I can also check if a variable is different from something. Taking account that in single bracket syntax, probably you will need to use here quotes, because if I can do something like this, content is string with spaces. If I do this without the string, too many arguments, because remember that this will be replaced by this text, including the spaces, and it won't match the required syntax for comparing for a comparator. So I need to use that, and in this case it will work. So it's another common error, not using quotes here when using single bracket syntax. We can also use the less and greater than operators for strings. For example, I'm going to make this directory directly. For example, if a is less than pbb, echo true, but this won't give you always the results the result that you expect. So for example, you put this here, okay, this is true. And why it's true? Because C in alphabetical order is after B, but in this case I'm using uppercase letters, so uppercase are before the lowercase letter. So it's not very, usually it's not very, very useful to use to compare the order of the strings, because it also depends on the local of the system, of accents and everything. But you have two very useful operators on the string. For example, I'm going to put content. I'm not using a variable here. So for example, I can check if a see if it will be true if the string is empty. Okay, the string is empty. Okay, the string is empty, and something here, it would be false. It will be false. And I have the reverse condition. Okay, is not empty in this case, would be more correct. With the n, the -n, we are checking if the string is not empty, and if I have something empty here, it will fail. So more or less, those are the comparison operators that we have in single bracket syntax. They are almost the same in double bracket syntax, and with this you can start modifying the flow control of your Bash scripts.